Big ideas start with a spark. At Tassis, we use that spark to ignite the fire in ourselves and our kids. So with the trust we build and the knowledge we share, we can grow together and stand tall, creating opportunities to advance in business while setting an example for the next generation. Whether you are starting fresh in Portugal or expanding globally, we're here to support each other. This is more than a network. We are a community that sets the examples for the leaders of tomorrow. Join Tassis Paris business community and share your knowledge and insights. Scan the QR for more information. See you there.
Tell me about your business, and we'll start with that first.
Okay, the agency is a global agent brokerage. We're from the U.S., but we're now expanding to 13 different countries in the world. I've been doing this as a real estate agent here in Portugal for about 8 years. 2 years with the agency. In terms of what we do, we cater for pretty much all of you here. Okay, this business was designed like many years ago when I realized that I'm Brazilian Portuguese. I realized that a lot of expats were coming to Portugal, so I decided to build a team with like expats, Italian, the German, French, Brazilian, American, and we start tackling the expats coming from all across the globe, and we start doing really well. We're growing. At one point, I was invited by the agency, U.S. Mauricio Mansky, which is a celebrity. And I went to London. I had a conversation with him, and I love everything he said. And I said, okay, let's do this together. So I have the whole country. We started with 15 agents 2 years ago from 5 different nationalities. Now we have 90 from 30 different nationalities speaking 21 languages in total.
That's amazing. That's incredible. So like you worked all over in Brazil, you worked in the United States, and you moved here. Why did you choose Portugal?
Portugal is the gateway to Europe, and my father was Portuguese, so I always had this desire, to come to Portugal, to explore Europe in general, and I think pretty much everyone that is in the same room had at one point the same desire that I had, which is coming to Portugal. It's a phenomenal country. There's a lot of things about Portugal that are very unique, okay? Portugal has a very high EPI, English Proficiency Index, so you can move here and kind of phase yourself into the country in a slow way. In other countries in Southern Europe, you won't be able to do that. And this is very attractive. Also, you have, safety, you have, the whole health insurance here, health system here is pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of great things about Portugal that attract, pretty much everyone like you.
One of the things that our topic today is talking about credibility and building credibility here. You came to a new country. You created this massive 90, you were telling me now over 90 people speaking 25 different languages. What was the one thing, like as an expat, like most of us expat coming here and trying to establish an authority? A lot of expat here have a lot of great experience, but they might not have the credibility here. What's the first step you think, or what are some of the things that you can recommend to build that credibility fast? Okay,
I think basically being a citizen of the world and being Portuguese, being Brazilian, being an American, I can have this triple nationality situation ongoing. Help me create bridges. And I think in the end, my businesses create bridges, okay? To make sure that someone that comes from the Netherlands comes here and it's helped by someone who's been in the same experience before. So my agents the vast majority of them are expats, okay? So they've been there, they've done that. I have agents here today that live in Australia, I have agents here that live in Canada. And this creates an environment where they can kind of not just sell real estate. Selling real estate is a part of the business, but that's not the whole point. The whole point is someone that comes here, they want to know, okay, where am I going to put my kids in school? Are they going to Tassis? Okay. What kind of, let's say I have some sort of medical issue, what kind of hospital I'm going to go to. So it goes beyond real estate we're helping people. That's the goal here.
So with all these different types of people, cultural intelligence is probably a very important thing when you build this company out, right? You get from, I think you said you started from 1 to like 90 people in less than 2 years.
Yes.
Tell us how you think about building that cultural intelligence, especially when there's a variety of expats coming from all around the world to Portugal. How intentional you were in that? I know the answer to that, but what were the steps for you to build that? Can you give us some components and variables to ensure that you are catering to the expat community?
I think the most important thing, when you talk about expats, and most people here in this room are expats, you have people that are used to break bread, okay? They're used to get out of the comfort zone and interact with people from different nationalities, different religions, different races. I mean, all sorts of backgrounds. You're used to that. So my team is that.
Yeah.
So doing that in a way that makes our clients comfortable. It also makes, because there's the Portuguese sellers in this equation too.
Yeah.
So if I have the buyers, the Portuguese sellers will follow suit. And I'll be able to connect these dots and make sure that we do the right thing for both buyers and sellers. So that's how we do this. And we have people that are, have the expertise in dealing with different nationalities and different cultures, different backgrounds.
You built an incredible luxury brand. What are the things that you think about in terms of not even just promotional things, but also like within your practice in terms of your building, the aesthetics, the brochures, and the way people dress? I'm sure. Like, what are all the components you think about to make sure that you cater to keep that luxury brand perception?
I think the brand helps a lot. I mean. We had a major exposure in the last 3-4 years. We had a show on Netflix for a couple of years. Maurice is a very well-known celebrity. I mean, he's like uncle of Paris Hilton, married to Kyle Richards. We had like the Beverly Hills Housewives show. So it's already brings a major attraction. So what we'd have to do is fine-tune. Okay, when I open, I didn't expect to have the results we had in the first 6 months, which was very unique. I did a business plan. I expect a certain amount of business, but when we opened, we got overwhelmed with the number of people actually coming to us, either to lease properties or coming from abroad, because they heard what we do. So when it comes to luxury, I think it's not a price point. It's an experience. I need to give white glove service to every single person that let's say, hires us to either find a property for them or to sell their property, okay? So it's not a suit, it's not the shoes, it's not any of that. It's an experience. My agents are trained to give the best experience possible to clients, both buyers and sellers.
Can you dive deeper into that training process and what it looks like? Like, if I was to come to work for you as an agent, like, what does that process look like? How long does that take?
Let me tell you something, and I have two of the first agents that actually work with me are here today, Martha Masper and Christopher Kirby Higgs, and they're both rookies when they started working with me five-ish years ago. I treasure more how the person behave, how that person relates to other human beings, emotional intelligence, empathy, things that really matter for me, okay? The rest I can train. I can train materials, I can train, how to present a house, I can train how to do a video, how to do social media. All that is very easy to train, but you cannot train character, you cannot train empathy, you cannot train emotional intelligence. So that's it's the most important part for me, more than the real estate expertise, which is something that can be taught.
Yeah, and what is the things that you look for what do you think makes a great agent in terms of,
Pretty much everything I just said. I think you need to connect, you need to understand that this, especially in our case, because we cater to this community of expats, I need to make sure that my agents understand that this person probably will be in some level of emotional distress, okay? It's not easy, okay? You live in the Netherlands to move to Portugal, different language, different culture. Things are slower, things are, bureaucracy is horrendous. So I need my agents to understand that and kind of filter that out and be like a zen, a calming, player in this equation to make sure that this transaction is done the proper way. And not just that, do the right thing always. I like to tell a quick story here about an expat that I had the pleasure to help, and it was actually here in Sintra. I had this couple from Malaysia moving to Portugal, and they're very nice people. We'll do the first viewing, do the second viewing. Back then I was an agent, so I was doing viewings. And during the second viewing, my wife has asthma, okay? So I noticed that, the toddler, like a 5-year-old kid, was like, Dad, Dad, Dad. And then the guy got like a pump, gave it to the kid, and the kid, shh, and I'm like, oh, this kid has asthma. And I was like, my wife has asthma. I know how complicated that is, especially for kids. And this house was a little bit humid. It was right in the humid part of Sintra. So, and the guy was about to put a proposal, and I said, no, you're not going to buy this house. And he said, why? I said, the house is a little bit humid. I opened the curtains. There's some condensation, some water. I look at the couch. It was kind of wet. And I said, I'm not going to do that to you, okay? I'll find you another house. This house is fantastic. I know you love the house, but it's not for your kid.
Yeah.
Okay, he might have an asthma crisis or something. So I sold another house to this couple. They obviously love me because I did the right thing. Yeah. So as an agent, you have to do the right thing, even if it hurts your pocket, even if it hurts that sale that you're expecting. It doesn't matter, because if you do the right thing, you're going to build a career, and it's not just going to be that deal.
Yeah, well, that's the definition of a trusted advisor, right?
Exactly.
Someone you can trust. So let's go right into that in credibility. What were some of the things that you feel is necessary for you to build credibility, especially if you're moving here to Portugal for the first time? You got to establish your business. How do you build credibility? What were the things that you did, maybe share a personal story that you did to create that credibility quickly?
I think I always had the same process, okay? I remember during the pandemic, it was like we got a lot of Americans coming, and it was kind of the same profile. So I got someone from California. I remember joking with my wife, it's like I almost spoke to the same family 6 times in a row because it was back to back to back, all of them with the same concerns, all of them with the same, okay, we live in the U.S. because the U.S. is a mess, political reasons and this and that, da-da-da. And they all wanted, the lifestyle in Portugal. And my process was always like, okay, let's answer every question they have. Let's do the second Zoom call, the third Zoom call. Once they're already comfortable with me and they come to Portugal, because there's a major issue here in Portugal, which is trust. Like agents, buyers are liars, buyers, will go anyone. I'm like, no. Yeah. If you build a rapport, if you're a nice person, you're doing the right thing for this family, there's no reason for them to go elsewhere. Okay, you build this relationship. It takes a while, but if you build this relationship, so once they come here, I'll take them to to dine out or lunch. I'll take them to schools or hospitals, whatever they need. I will help them through and through. That's goes beyond real estate, because you're actually helping someone to transition from point A to point B, and I'm the contact person, so I need to be responsible for that.
When's the first port of contact for you, like in terms of when you start thinking about building this deep relationship with your clients, whether it be a high net worth individual or anybody, like what are the steps in your head, or so that we can translate it, go, this is how I would build my company or train my staff to think about those things. Because the characters of the person to do that is, you take training. Like most people don't think like that. And so you have this brain and this experience to do that. So what are the steps that you think to help build that?
Okay, first, how do we reach my clients? That's one question that needs to be answered. So we have, pretty excellent, like a media exposure with the agency. It's an international brand, okay? People ask me, why you didn't, build your own business apart from the agency? Because I will never bring that credibility that comes from a brand that it's all over the globe, okay? Yeah. That has a show on Netflix, that has a bunch of things. So I need that credibility to kind of bring clients to me. And once I have that, it's all about building a relationship. Okay, because relationships bring referrals. Referrals brings more relationships, and you keep going. You keep the snowball going downhill, and that's the goal whenever you open a business. So that's my business vision, not just for real estate, but any business you've been. You need to have an idea and a plan. How to execute that plan, it depends. Okay.
If an entrepreneur is coming to this marketplace and they're looking at the next 3 to 5 years, what are the untapped opportunities that you see here for someone to kind of be able to build credibility, experience, or in real estate? What do you think they are?
There are plenty, okay? There's so many opportunities out there. Keep in mind, Portugal is extremely attractive, okay? It's bringing a lot of Americans, it's bringing a lot of Northern Europeans, it's bringing a lot of Brazilians, high net worth individuals. I mean, it's bringing all these people who come here, and they use services that sometimes Portugal still don't offer 100%. So, find a market niche that you believe you will be successful on, okay, that you have expertise on that specific area, and think about the public that you're going to be working with. If you do that and you have a plan in place, you will succeed, because there's so many people coming at the same time. So it's.
What's out of your company? You obviously just been in this for 2 years at the agency. What's the legacy you want to create for this company and also in the real estate market in Portugal?
I want to be, many years from now, seen as someone that was like a, let's say a groundbreaking, person in terms of real estate and brought a lot of families. Yeah, I do have that. Lots of clients still, I have friendship with them because they know 3, 4, 5 years ago I helped them, come to Portugal, and they're really well settled here. Just to finish, I'll tell a story here, which is a very it's something that makes me proud, which is a family that had endured a lot of issues in their lives. They live in the U.S. They were heavily discriminated because of certain situations. And when they came to Portugal during the pandemic, they bought here without sight unseen, without ever setting foot in Portugal. It was a golden visa process. They were in Malaysia, not a couple that was in Malaysia. And I bought the house. It was very tough because it's a huge responsibility. So I did Google Earth. I was driving around the house, everything to make sure that they're fine. And now they're here. The kids speak Portuguese. She's speaking Portuguese. They're very happy. The other day I went to talk to them, and she hugged me, and she was tear-eyed because she said, "This is the place. We always expect that in our lives to live in 5 different countries, and we couldn't adjust. And now Portugal is the place for us to be."
That's great. That's a great story. What do you think the challenges are ahead in the next 3 years in real estate?
I think there's a major disconnection between supply and demand. Okay, so that's the reason, which is good for investors. So anyone that wants to invest in Portugal will like that because prices will keep going up, and don't expect anything to stabilize in the next 2-3 years. So more houses need to be built, more developments need to come out. Things need to improve in terms of infrastructure for expats like you. But I think it's in the right, we're in the right path. We're going the right direction.
Okay, so we're going to end this interview with just a couple of quick hit questions.
Go ahead,
okay? So,
go for it.
What's the best decision you made since your Portugal journey?
Moving to Portugal.
Moving to Portugal. Great answer. Great answer. You had a great experience in sales. You've done sales all your life.
Yes.
From all around Brazil and also in America. What's maybe a book or a recommendation or a podcast or thing that you taught you about leadership?
I'm very unique on that. I don't do sales books. So I would say The Razor's Edge from Somerset Maugham.
Okay. Fantastic.
It's a book about people, not sales.
I love it. I love that. All right. Last question is, what's a piece of advice you give for an expat thinking about entering this market tomorrow?
As an agent?
Yeah.
I think the first thing is learn from someone that has more experience in this than you. I had a chance to learn from a phenomenal Portuguese agent. She was my mentor in this, and I learned a lot from her. And I think mentoring is about also, if someone mentors you, give it back, mentor someone else. It's pay it forward. So I had this chance to learn from someone. So if you're joining, my company or any company, try to find someone who's very skilled in what you do, learn from them, and then make sure 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years from now, you paid back, teaching someone.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for your insights, your wisdom. Give him a round of applause.
My pleasure.
Thank you.